So I've been kind of struggling trying to figure out how to keep a smooth flow of videos getting uploaded. Um, I'm so flooded with work right now that it just is way too difficult to try and like do a complete video on like one thing. Obviously you saw me do the crank, but even now I struggled with because I had more than one crank going at once. I was filming different parts and it's just all over the place. Also, that's just kind of how I work, unfortunately. I am all over different projects going and whatever. Anyway, what I think I'm going to do in order to just kind of get some consistency going for right now, which is really important at the beginning of a channel to try and keep YouTube suggesting my videos. I'm going to start a build series on an engine for myself, so then that way I can take my time with it and I don't have someone calling me every day asking when they're getting their stuff back. I will try and keep it super consistent, like one video a week. Might throw in some different things here and there in between, but this will at least be a very consistent upload. So I'll show you the engine. This is going to be the project. It's a super early unit, like low number unit. I picked this up for like super cheap. Well, it was actually in a batch of a bunch of parts I actually really wanted, and this just kind of came with it. And it's just been sitting around. I did start pulling the jugs off when I very first got it, and then it's just been sitting for quite a while. There's a lot that is not going to get used on this. I'll do a little walkthrough here. She is a mess. It clearly got left outside. I mean, it was full of water. I did pull this timing cover off when I had started kind of stripping it, but the jugs were just, bare, no head on it or anything. You can see how bad they are. I got all the base nuts off and then just started really working it. And the crank was froze, just off the main bearings. But I finally got it to this point and it's still really sticky. Clearly majority of these parts aren't good. I'm not going to use them. This rod here, you can see awful corrosion. Realistically, this is like not a good engine, but that's kind of the point with this. I want to have some fun, do something real wild, create, kind of like a show and go, just like a hopped up street rod type deal. I'm not going to be like doing any racing, nothing ridiculous. It's just going to look good, sound good. That's kind of the goal with this thing. I've been hoarding some fun parts here and there. Just to kind of make something that's a little ridiculous, I guess. Again, I'm not trying to build a race bike or anything. I just want to have some fun. We'll run through some of the parts I've got. I got these R&R rods. I got these from Kyle at CBS. I'm kind of excited. They're super over the top. Like I said, I'm not doing anything too crazy with this engine, but I just thought it'd be fun to put these in. I have these Route Big Bore 750 kit. Got some new standard pistons for it. I'm gonna polish them all up, make them look good. I found these. I got the cylinder separate, but it measures standard. It's nice and straight, still tight. Whoever was running it didn't run it too long. And then I found a set of NOS standard pistons. And they were a little, dusty, so I've been cleaning those up. I'm going to run those. Other than that, I've got a big pile of cams to pick from. I'm probably going to end up using this crank. This was in one of the other big batches of parts I got at some point, but it's a good crank. It needs ground, but I'll grind and balance it to match the big bore kit. But that crank that's in there, I'm not even going to mess with. It's so crusty. You can see on this side, it's just really bad. So not even going to bother with it. Same with transmission. I've got this other, looks kind of grimy, but it's a good trans here. I'm probably going to end up running it instead because I can't imagine how bad this one's going to be. But we'll find out when we tear into it. Otherwise, we've got quite the selection of sprockets to choose from. I think I'm going to go with, you know, something on the bigger side. Give this thing some long legs. What else I got here? Different spring kits, just stuff I've been collecting over the years. I'm going to run these Kibble White tappet blocks. And then for the head, I've got this 71.5 head, so it's cast like a 10 bolt, but it's only been machined for a 9 bolt. And it's got these, well, like the direct bolt-on style manifolds. I got these Mikuni ones on. I know people are going to comment about that, but I probably won't run these. I'm actually planning on getting the Amels from Dan at Friends and Grub. He had his California carb made. So I think I'm just going to get a pair of those and run those on here. So these Mikuni manifolds will probably go out the window. But yeah, so this is just kind of, I guess, a rundown of some of the parts. I've got, obviously, a lot more random things laying around that I'm going to throw at this, but like I said, I want it to just be a show and go, you know, just make it sound tough, run really happy. I'll probably end up doing like the full build, so I guess we'll kind of work on it together as far as what frame it's going to get, all the other bits, and so yeah, I'm excited. I'll probably rip this thing apart. I don't know if that'll end up being a separate video or not, but for now we'll just call this the intro. But you can kind of get a good look at how grimy this thing is. Okay, so I had to slow down because of these stupid little flat blade screws. I hate these things, but it's better to take your time than blow them all out because they are not fun to try and extract. This one's got a hole in it already, so I don't know what's going on there, but that'll be kind of fun to figure out. Anyway, I'm going to start getting some heat in these, and hopefully that'll kind of kick them loose. I might switch over to my hammer impact too. Just to kind of square up with them a little bit better and actually get some, you know, power behind it. That little, you know, DeWalt impact I've got, I like it a lot. You just gotta pick and choose when you use it. You can kind of get some more shots of how tasty this thing is. It's gonna be kind of fun to see how, if and how much this thing can get cleaned up, but I wanted to do a bunch of like case matching, but it looks really good. I'm like kind of surprised. Either, well, up here kind of needs it, but anyway, it just, usually a lot of these like front sections and stuff are ugly. Okay, kind of seems weird, but whenever I have a really, really rough engine like this, I usually like to split the cases on the ground because I'm gonna get pretty aggressive with it. And it's just easier to work with. Don't have to worry about it falling off the table or rolling away from you. I just like to be, you know, hanging over it, beating on it. I did that thing again where I stopped recording and then never got back on it. So the transmission's out. Everything is pulled as far as like case hardware. So it should come apart pretty smooth at this point, I hope, as long as those bearings aren't as bad as they look. But the transmission actually looks really good. I'll show you that here in a minute. I'm kind of surprised. So I may actually end up running the original trans, which would be cool. But anyway, let's start beating on this thing. Get out your two favorite hammers. Now, I keep saying beating on and wailing on and all this stuff. You build and build. You slowly get to where you can actually hit things. You don't want to just immediately start going crazy. I try and avoid breaking things. I mean, obviously that's without saying, but even with these cylinders, there's a reason I put all that time into trying to peel them out of there, just because it's hard for me to bring myself to start breaking fins, even though this one's already broke. Whatever. Anyway, what I'll do is, like, see, this might come apart way easier than I think, but I like to tap along here, you know, nothing too crazy, get some good leverage, maybe hit on this spot over here, nothing crazy. It may sound more aggressive than it really is, but just do what you gotta do, you know what I'm saying? She grimy. Honestly, it came apart way easier than I've expected. I've had engines that look better than this that were harder to get apart. Now I've got to knock out this. What a deal. Yeah, that was interesting. Now I've just got this cool boat anchor assembly. I'll probably end up, I don't know. I mean, these cylinders are junk, so it doesn't really matter what happens to them. But I don't know. And these rods are no good either, so not really trying to rescue any of this. The crank, on the other hand, I thought was toast, but I don't know. I might actually be able to rescue it. So that might be kind of fun to check out. But she's sticky regardless. Alright. This is going to be the end of what we'll call episode 1. I don't know how I'm going to break this up. I'll probably have to come up with some stupid name, so then that way I can do a series on it. But the next little step we'll do is probably clean the cases up, just so we can get an eye on those and make sure everything is good. If there is like any sneaky big time damage, I'll probably grab a different set of cases. I'd really like to use these. I love that they're like really, really early unit. I think that's kind of neat. Otherwise, like I said, I'm kind of surprised. This is the transmission that came out of it, and it's really clean. Like, there's some rust, but I think it's like just kind of surface grime. It's really not like pitted or anything, so that's really surprising. The main shaft looks like it might actually have some damage to it. No big deal. I've got a couple more of those laying around. But we'll clean everything up and kind of see what exactly we're dealing with. And even with this crank, I may try and use it. Again, it all depends on how it cleans up. You know, this may be pretty pitted over here. It's kind of the worst out of everything, but cams are junk. They wouldn't have been good either way, even if they weren't rusty. They got flat spots, so we won't be playing with those. Yeah, so I think what we'll do is we'll get the cases cleaned up next, and then maybe pick one or two other things to dissect and make sure we like what we've got. But yeah, overall, I think this will be a good first episode.